My Hero Academia has come to an end. To many people, it was known for their toxic stands and cringe fan base, and to others, it was seen as an anime that fell off after season 3. But to me, it was my first anime. Well, anime that I knew was anime. I was watching Pokemon, Ultimate Muscle, Digimon before, but that don't count. So I'll always have the love for it, as it was my gateway into the perfect world of anime. When I saw the trailer of the final season, I was just perplexed because, I'll be honest, I dropped it. Season 5, I just remember it being so terrible, but I was like, for one last time, it is the last season, it is my gateway into anime. I thought, let's go plus ultra and rewatch the whole thing in time for the final season. And yeah, that didn't work. Started to watch it on September 15th and it started on October the 4th, so then I said, let's go plus ultra and rewatch it in time for the final episode, and we got it. MHA really does start very well. Seeing the contrast between Shigaraki and Deku as they were little fledglings at the start and then now becoming household names in the world of MHA. And one thing I must say, the fight scenes, damn! This might be controversial, but I generally think on a consistency basis, My Hero might have the best fight scenes in anime. I said it. All Might versus Nomu, All Might versus All for One, Deku versus Shoto, Deku versus Muscular. It doesn't get better than that. And also the fact that I don't need to read subtitles to understand what strategy the villain's gonna put out. It's just the pure old-fashioned scrap. On my rewatch, there's something that I realised as well. It's actually quite funny, especially Mineta. I normally don't like the perv characters, and I didn't really like his pervy antics. But one of the moments that I found was so funny was when he was playing the guitar, and he was like, "It's not my fault. This is my character builder." I couldn't stop laughing for that. And also when he was explaining his quirk to Froppy and Deku, and then they just looked at him with a blank expression. He started crying. I started dying, man. On my rewatch, there was something I did realise, and it was Midoriya. I remember previously people saying, "Oh, I don't like Midoriya, he's such a bad character, he's one of the worst main characters," and it was something that I didn't understand. Maybe I was unaware at what a good main character was, or maybe I've been brainwashed by the common consensus. I'd like to believe it was the latter, because, and the reason saying this is, and you're like, okay, I really feel sympathetic towards him because he's a kid that has aspirations to be the greatest hero, aspirations to be like All Might, but then he has no quirk. But then 49 minutes and 63 seconds into the show, he gets the most overpowered quirk in the world. Bruh. And it's like, okay, fair enough. He's not the strongest. You got it quite late. I did like how the fact he was breaking himself and then getting stronger, breaking himself. So there was drawbacks to it. But then he gets 7 more quirks. And it's just like, really? And the worst thing is, what really irked me, what really got under my skin is the fact that he was acting like the underdog the whole story. Bakugo has a way more inferior quirk, and in season 4 and 5 I'm hearing Deku saying, "I must surpass Kacchan." Get your priorities right, bro. You need to be being all for one. You need to be telling Shigaraki, "I'm gonna beat you," and he's saying he must surpass Kacchan. Bakugo might have the 5th, 6th best quirk in class 1A, and he's saying that. It's mad. And I understand at the end of the day, an amazing quirk isn't the end all and be all, and we see that with Mirio. But if it isn't, Deku should be a lot stronger because he knows what it is without having a quirk. He knows how it is to not have a quirk. And what made him unique as well was the fact that he used to research. He was such a nerd for these heroes, but then as soon as he got his powers, you don't really see him exploiting that and showing that he still is that nerd. He kind of drops that a few seasons into the show. And barring the Gran Torino training, it's like he doesn't get any specific training to get stronger. He kind of just gets stronger, like with the 7 extra quirks he gets, barring the Black Whip. The others he gets it with relative ease, and you don't really see him training for it. And also with the Endeavor arc, this is what made me drop the show initially. It was he got told not to do the Black Whip move, just leave it, and then Bakugo and Shoto got told to condense the heat. What does that even mean? So then when Shoto's brother gets kidnapped, they all magically learn how to do it, and then Deku learns how to do Black Whip, but Endeavor told him not to, so it's just like, what? And also the saving everyone complex. I know all shonen protagonists have this where they want to save everyone, but Deku takes it to another level. Shigaraki is an actual criminal, a killer, but due to his tough past, you want to save him. And it's just like, okay, with that logic of you wanting to save everyone, understand them, why didn't you do a background check on Muscular and Nobu? Try get them back to the normal. Nomu has even more reason for you to do a background check, but you're just dusting these guys off. Something I did like on my rewatch was the character development, and one in particular, and that was Bakugo. Endeavor has amazing character development, but I feel like he gets the credit for that. Bakugo was seen as a hot-headed male tsundere, and at the start of the show, you see that he was someone who was glazed more than a dozen cream donuts. Like, damn, everyone's like, Bakugo, your quirk was so amazing. Oh, I want to be like you. Gotcha, this and that. Even Midori was glazing him. And that reinforces arrogance in middle school. But then he then joins UA, and then he's getting made fun out of because he was just regular to all the other students. His realization of when he's seeing the likes of Shoto, realizing that he's not the strongest, his quirk is quite inferior. Doesn't make him turtle away, be more arrogant. It doesn't make him... Actually, it does make him be more arrogant. It doesn't make him turn into a villain, but it makes him show and fight harder. Every so often you see the cracks in his armor, showing a plethora of different emotions. Guilt when All Might loses his powers, sadness when he sees Midoriya will not be his rival, and inferiority when he's seeing Shoto's powers. This makes us see the human side of him, and this felt like one of the most human feelings I've seen in anime, and him surpassing his limits made me really fond of his character. His arrogance is something he maintains throughout the show, but it isn't something that stops him from developing. And one moment that depicts this perfectly is when he teams up with Jiro, Sugarman and Zero for the class 1A versus 1B. Him acknowledging that he has gotten stronger, but not with actual strength. It was him understanding how he has to at times depend on his team, and his team has to depend on him. Thinking about winning to save people. This character development isn't just a changing 180. It's still having what makes him him, but refining his bad habits and his nature. Also, in the last few seasons, he was so cool, getting his redemption for All Might, getting his redemption for saving All Might from All for One. That was really good to see. And very so often seeing the cracks in his armor, it really does make me feel like he's one of the most relatable characters in anime. Stain is an amazing villain, but I wanted to talk about Shigaraki Himiko Toga. Shigaraki was someone I thought was too annoying and too petulant to be built as an overarching villain for the whole story. That was something I thought on my first watch, however on my second it was so much more different. He was a villain out of pure hate to the hero society. He was someone who didn't have direction in his hate. He knew he wanted to destroy, but he didn't know the reason. And he was constantly demeaned and overlooked with the lack of guidance that he had by other villains like Overhaul, Redestro and Stain. With this, he found his own purpose, that he wanted to destroy stuff, but due to the neglect he felt and due to what he thought was the hero society turning on him and turning on certain things. And this allowed him to get stronger with his unwavering conviction and to carry out his plan. This is something I feel like a lot of people can relate to, especially me, with when you do have a goal but not understanding the reason, not knowing what that reason is, you kind of lack a purpose. Well, you do know your purpose, but it's like on the days that it's tough, on the day that you don't want to really do something, you just leave it because you don't really know the reason for why you want to achieve this goal. And I feel like Shigaraki is a perfect depiction of that, as he carries out his goal and you see him getting stronger. The stronger he finds his purpose and the more reason he finds it. Himiko Toga, on the other hand, was someone who I thought was just a psycho. Like, that smile is scary, I'll be honest. Even though we know what it is, that smile still is scary. I'm adamant with that. But watching MJ in the end, you understand that she isn't someone who wants to destroy the world. She's someone who just wants to be accepted for who she is. Her quirk doesn't allow her to fit into normal society. She's constantly told to suppress her emotions, which is something that most people can relate to, whether it's pain, anger. She eventually explodes, starts doing what she wants to do, joining a group that will accept her. The final battle between Uraraka and her was so gut-wrenching, with Himiko Toga finally being understood and also realizing if she got that help sooner, instead of just getting shamed and told to suppress it, she could have been completely different. This gave me the biggest life lesson. Because in life, we are so quick to judge people and put them into boxes without actually understanding them. We always have this dogmatic approach with our morals. If someone doesn't align with them, they are wrong and nothing else matters. Hime Kotoga has altered my opinion on that. My Hero Academia's last season, I thought, was one of the best seasons. Seeing the destruction and feeling the stakes and everyone having their last battle, feeling tense despite you knowing who was going to win, kind of knowing who was going to win. But one thing I felt like in the last season it really needed was a death on the hero's side. The fact that no one died, barring Midnight and Stain, who got swatted like a bug. No one dies on the hero's side, and I did like how Bakugo got his redemption, but All Might dying in that way would have been a perfect way to die, and seeing the rage of Bakugo and Midoriya. Despite the things I dislike about this anime, thank you My Hero Academia for being my first anime and being my gateway into the world of anime.